Hello and welcome to Crushing Comics. I'm your host Peter, and we're here to fall in love with my comic book collection all over again, or as the case may be, for the first time, because this box here is a box full of American Air and also comic books from my trusty friends at In Stock Trades. It is a quantity of 10 books, which weighs 18 pounds and 14 ounces. And it has come here from America, so I'm going to set it down right in front of me, and we're going to have a good old haul video today. Let's see. Oh, it's the packing peanuts, not my fave. So here's my first book in the haul, which is Lumberjanes. We love Lumberjanes in this house so much, and this, I think, is the first opportunity I've had to talk about it here on the show. So Lumberjanes follows a group of all-girl campers in upstate New York, and they're at a summer camp that maybe there's a little bit more than meets the eye to this summer camp. There's some weird supernatural things happening in the woods, and also time seems to be going by in a very different way than it does in the real world. And these campers, they're adorable characters. They're so well developed. I love them so much, and I've been reading this. I remember I got the first one because it's like, hey, indie comic, female characters, I support that kind of thing. I totally didn't like it. I read 2 issues, like, oh, this is terrible, and I threw it away. And I later thought, oh, hey, this might be a fun comic to page through with my little kid. And she fell in love with the Lumberjanes. She loves them so much. I love them so much. And I think it was a comic that really benefited from reading it out loud, because realizing the voices of the characters really made it a lot more than it was to begin with for me. So now we're both addicted to this comic book. And this one collects, I want to say it collects 25 to 28. They all collect pretty small ranges. 25 to 28. But the thing is, Lumberjanes is 20 issues past this right now. So they've been very carefully titrating out these books, even though they could be shipping them much quicker, so we could have another 5 volumes right now. And we're on volume 7 instead of volume 12. So they know they've got a good thing going. And they're in no hurry to flood the market with too many volumes. So there are also oversized versions of Lumberjanes that collect 2 of those each. Oh, and then there's a bunch of books that aren't. This is not my favorite iced tea. What are you doing to me? This box just has random books with packing peanuts in between their pages. So fun. Okay, so this is Venom Separation Anxiety. As I was making the Venom guide, which is live in Crushing Crisis right now and available to all of my Patreon subscribers, I actually realized that Marvel had been systematically, continuously collecting all of Venom in a sequential way, so that all of his miniseries were in the right order in these trade paperbacks that they periodically put out. And I like Venom enough, and I also love the idea of a really complete set of books that do a good job of collecting things in the correct chronological order. So I realized I had picked up a few of them, but I hadn't picked up all of them, and I grabbed this one. Now, I don't remember exactly where this is in the greater scheme of things, but it's, I think it's the next one after Lethal Protector. So this is just part of the ongoing Venom miniseries. And what's funny is Venom had miniseries going on for 4 or 5 years, to the point that he had effectively a 60-some issue series that were just made up of a continual string of miniseries. And effectively, each miniseries was just a new arc of his comic book. This is just a little previews guide that they sent to me, which probably would have been handy had I received this in a week like you do from In Stock Trades in America, but now all of these comic books have come out already. Let's see what else is in here. Oh. All right, this is Cable, the Hellfire Hunt. So Cable is about to be in Deadpool #2, and so Marvel has really stepped up the collection of Cable's solo series from the 90s, to the point that after these few books that are coming out at the beginning part of this year, we're going to have everything except for, I think, 5 issues of Cable had been collected at some point. So that's pretty awesome. This one even does a smart thing. It collects Cable and Machine Man Annual 1998 and Machine Man and Bastion Annual 1998. There had been this theme in 1998 where all of Marvel's annuals were actually mashup annuals, sometimes of 2 people with currently running franchises like X-Men and Fantastic Four, sometimes with people that a running franchise and a non-running franchise like X-Force and Champions. So Cable and Machine Man didn't have an ongoing ongoing book. And then there's also Machine Man, who didn't have a book, and Bastion, who didn't have a book, and they got an annual too. And you fear with that stuff sometimes that Marvel's going to kind of forget about it and leave it out. A great example is there's a Spider-Man Elektra annual that really should have been in the Elektra Complete collection of her 1996 series, and it's not. So good on Marvel for putting in this Cable book. I actually have all of these in floppies because I never in a million years thought that Cable was going to be collected this comprehensively, and yet here we are. So I guess I can sell off those floppies because I don't need to do a custom binding for them. So here's another one of these Venom books. Clearly I was in a little bit of a tear. This is actually Carnage Unleashed, but even though it's called Carnage Unleashed, it's primarily got Venom Carnage Unleashed, which is a Venom story, and then Venom Sinner Takes All. And then it doesn't really have a lot of primarily Carnage stuff. So this is effectively one of those Venom books in the Venom bookshelf lineup that I realized I was missing. You can tell, like, there's always a big box that arrives at my house whenever I do a new comic book guide, because I'm usually like doing, if it's a character I like, as I'm doing the guide, I'm like, oh, I don't have that one, and I don't have that one, and I don't have that one, and then like it all kind of just comes in the next order. So, this is Letter 44. This is Charles Soules' creator-owned series with Oni Press. I don't feel like a lot of people are big Oni Press fans. I don't see a lot of people talking about Oni Press. They do some really cool creator-owned stuff, and they do some kid stuff too. And this is his creator-owned series of, it's really interesting. This crew goes into space to investigate what looks like it could be an alien spacecraft way out at the edges of our solar system. But there's also a lot of political things that are happening on Earth, both generally and related to the fact that this crew has gone out and that there's some knowledge on Earth that there might be alien life out there. It's very, very readable. It's got really strong art, and I've been following all along, and this is the final volume, and it's the smallest one. You see me looking at it sort of quizzically. If I can just reach off camera here for the other four. These, it really feels like it's much smaller. I don't know. Do you think it's the smallest one? I think it's the smallest one. So this is the whole set. This is the whole series now. And it's so glittery. Do you see it like iridescing on your camera there? Yeah. So I'm pretty excited for that. I'm probably going to want to sit down and read it all the way straight through. It's definitely one of those series where I got a little bit lost in between each one, where I was like, oh, what is this about? As I like caught up to each next one. So it'll be fun to read them all. Injection by Warren Ellis is one of my favorite ongoing creator-owned series. It's Warren Ellis with Declan Shalvey and Jordi Belair, and all of whom are fantastic on this. Its first two graphic novels I could not recommend more highly. I love it. It's a great concept. It's kind of like a little bit X-Files-ish, but X-Files crossed with Spooks or MI5, where it's like people who were investigating the paranormal, and then they kind of become a part of the paranormal, and then they've gone away, but now they all get drawn back together to take care of it as it is spiraling out of control. So I'm so excited to read this. This is a book that I refuse to keep up with digitally. Like, I want to wait for the physical copy so I can hold it in my hands and enjoy it, and I do love it so much. We've got a new X-Men Epic Collection, X-Men Mutant Genesis. This is a big deal because it's the first time that some of this material is appearing in paperback, including, basically this is the first half of the second volume of X-Men Claremont Lee Omnibus. So this has everything that directly follows Extinction Agenda. Actually, no, that's not true. It's like the middle of it. So it doesn't have the stuff that directly follows Extinction Agenda, which would be X-Men 273. It starts with X-Men 278, 279, 280, and then has X-Men 1 through 3, and it pads that out by having X-Factor 65 through 70. So who knows how they'll handle that when the X-Factor Epic collections get that far. So it doesn't have the X-Men in space stuff that directly follows Extinction Agenda, which will be a weird fit into volume 18 of the Epic collections. I guess maybe volume 18 will be like Extinction Agenda plus the space stuff? I don't know, because we haven't really seen how the Epic collections are going to handle these big crossovers. We actually got one recently that was a big crossover, which was Avengers did Operation Galactic Storm, which is going to be, it crosses over through West Coast Avengers, Quasar, Wonder Man. None of those have Epic collections. But also Iron Man for 2 issues, Thor for 2 issues, and Captain America for an issue plus some material from other issues. So theoretically, we're going to hit all of those issues in other Epic collections, and it's like how are those Epic collections going to handle those issues? Are they going to say they're in this book and just not include them at all? Are they going to include them in full but say, but you need to buy this other Epic collection for the full thing? Who knows? Well, we have the same problem with the Epic collection that will precede this one, which will be Epic Volume 18, because it's going to have Extinction Agenda, which also includes chunks of issues from X Factor and New Mutants, and then this Epic collection itself includes issues from X Factor 2. I'm kind of surprised that they included the X Factor issues in this Epic collection, but I guess they just wanted to make it parallel to the omnibus. So for some of those issues, it's the first time they've been collected, although I think then they are recollecting Muir Island Saga in some other book pretty soon. So it's kind of funny, like we waited decades to get Muir Island Saga in reprint that wasn't just oversized hardcover, now we're getting it twice. Sometimes I just buy things because I'm stubborn. And Youngblood is one of those things. Right before I left for New Zealand, I was completing my Wildstorm collection in floppies. I have every Wildstorm book there is. I eventually relented and I got a few trade paperbacks at the end. And as I was doing that, I realized I had a pretty big chunk of Youngblood, and I was like, oh, do I really want to spend time and money and finish my Youngblood collection too? Like, do I even like these comic books? And I said, oh yeah, we might as well, because might never have the chance to buy them again in New Zealand. So I wound up completing all of Youngblood. I'm missing like one issue that I just could not find anywhere, like not even for money. I just couldn't find it. And so this is a Youngblood relaunch. It says an all-new cast and all-new mission. So I don't know if it continues at all from previous Youngblood or not. But it doesn't have Liefeld actually on it. It's written by Chad Bowers with art by Jim Toe. And the artwork looks okay. And I'm excited to read it at some point. It's probably in line after my Wildstorm reread, but it'll be fun. I have all these, I have a whole rest of my life to read all of these comic books. I feel like I'm bobbing for apples. I have this big box full of packing peanuts, and I'm like, here we go. Let's see what we pull out. Okay. They've got packing peanuts all throughout them. So this is the first Punisher Epic collection, and it is Epic Volume 7, and this is a big one. This is one of the biggest Epic collections there has been. I can't think of anyone that's as big as this one. And it collects Punisher 63 to 75. So Punisher, much like Amazing Spider-Man, is one of those books that, like, they're kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't with the Epic collections, because Punisher had 3 titles at that point. Punisher, Punisher Warzone, and Punisher War Journal. And they very frequently kind of intersected with each other a lot. And I really feel like those titles, the Epic collection should collect them all. Like, maybe it doesn't have to like shuffle all of the issues together as he ping-pongs back and forth story to story, but it should be like, here's the chunk from this title in this period, and this other title and this other title. And this book doesn't do it. So it's kind of like, I guess that's not going to happen. And weirdly, at the same time that they're releasing this, they just released a Punisher just standalone like crossover book of the 3 of them that wasn't Epic collection. So it's kind of like, does that mean an Epic collection is now going to cover just the Punisher issues from, it's that same problem we were just talking about. Are they going to cover just the Punisher issues from that crossover in an Epic and be like, for the other issues, see the full crossover book? I don't know. But I just cannot get over how huge this is. I guess as the Epic collections are popular and they're selling, but Marvel wants to like knock out other series, they're getting a little bolder and doing bigger ones. It's the same thing that happened with Masterworks, right? Like Masterworks always used to be so small, generally. And now Marvel's knocking out these massive Masterworks because they're like, okay, we have the end is in sight, we know how many more we want to put out. And I think that's the benefit of knowing that there's a market for these books and that it's already mapped, is that you can get bolder and put out bigger volumes. Part of the danger of this bobbing for apples thing is I'm not going to know when I get the last book. All right, let's see. Oh boy. Well, I guess the biggest one's settled to the bottom. This might actually be the last one. Well, actually, what did I say? That there were 10 books? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, this is the last one, and it's a doozy. XMen Classic Omnibus. So actually, since this is an omnibus, and since it's X-Men, I think we're just going to do a whole other episode and give it its rightful ceremonial shelving alongside the other X-Men omnibuses. So that's been it for this haul video, and if you want to hear more about this, tune into the next episode, and I will keep on talking and get my first look inside of the X-Men Classic Omnibus, a book I never thought would be real. yet here it is in my hand. So thank you so much for watching and help me fall in love with both with my existing comic book collection and this massive pile of new comic books. And tune in next time to hear about this lovely book right here. Thanks so much for watching.